Imagine that. Someone made a video on Mr. Hargrave that doesn't hate him. So yeah, we got to support this guy. Let's go make sure we like and subscribe to Run 7. This is a review of my defense teams, which are the worst, by the way. I put that video out a couple of days ago of my own, where I admit that my team suck. These are not teams meant to win. These are, yeah, it's all Zozo's fault, I'm telling you. All right, here we go.
Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today I got a good one for you. It's Mr. Hargrave's defense. Yes, he sent it over to me so we could have a look at this. I was in his stream yesterday. If you don't know who Mr. Hargrave is, be sure to check him out. His streams are very entertaining. He's got a cool vibe that he does. He knows his stuff, and
I do have a cool vibe, don't I? It's a cool vibe in here. We like to keep the vibe cool. Whenever the vibe check comes around, we normally pass the vibe check. There was a couple of times where the vibe check was not passed, and in those cases, those streams were never seen again. They have been buried. But most of the time, the vibe check passes, and the stream progresses to YouTube, where it is seen by thousands of people instead of a mere 100.
He's got lots to say, so check him out over there on Twitch.
Yeah, in fact, I can't shut the fuck up. It's actually medically impossible for me to shut the fuck up for more than, I think 5 minutes is the longest I've ever gone on a reaction without talking. So that is true.
But it should be known that we looked at his offense and defense, and he understands that this defense is garbage. He understands, as I try to tell my viewers, that war defense is very much not important right now, and you shouldn't be focusing on it. You should be focusing on raids, and probably some raids too.
You might also want to focus on raids, and then pay some extra attention to raids.
If you're getting sick of raids, then maybe you should look into arena, but be sure to do raids first.
If you're getting sick of raids, you should probably quit the fucking game. I mean, quite honestly, that's it. The game is raids. It has been for 3 years. If you're just catching on to that now, I hate to tell you this. This game was founded on raids. Raids are going nowhere. They're going to be the same way until the end of time. If raids are boring for you, you are definitely playing the wrong game. I think a lot of people are already figuring that out and are going over to Marvel Future Revolution, which I don't believe has raids. So, yay.
All the way down the list is your war defense, after war offense. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at his defense.
Yo, and my war offense does fuck. Like, if I don't know if he's going to show my war offense. I've shown my war offense in my video. But my war offense is the shit, by the way. It's 9 solid wins every single war, 9 or 10 wins. I don't lose unless I do. Some people here have seen that vibe check fail and me lose. But it doesn't happen often. I never get wins with my defense, though. That's true. That never happens.
Defense, seeing how we can fix it up, not only to make it the best defense, but also...
Mr. Hargrave could be a different person. Hold on. Do I got to take notes? I feel like maybe I should take notes. Is he going to actually... Can he tell me what to do with my shitty defense to make what I have better? Or is he going to tell me to, like, buy Shang-Chi? Because I can't buy Shang-Chi. I'm not doing that. Although some people in my alliance are, God bless them, or hate them. I don't know. I think that's great for me, I guess. So that's cool, but I'm not buying it. All right, I'm ready to take notes.
How we could make it a defense where he's not using any more resources to improve the characters.
Okay.
Where he's not using any characters that he is saving for offense. So kind of a 2 ways to look at it, like the best version of this and then the budget version of this. But anyway. Let's jump into it. First off, we've got team number 1, which is Heroes for Hire. And he's got Juggernaut in here. And you'll see why he's got Juggernaut in here. Basically, he's not using Brotherhood. He's got Magneto elsewhere. So that's why he's got Juggernaut in here instead of JJ. But honestly, I think Juggernaut is so slow with that taunt.
Yeah, that's true.
That I don't know if that's going to be very effective. People might be able to come in here with like a...
He's just there for size. It's just a size thing. So he's the biggest character that I had free. He's not there for any intelligent reason. It's just make more bigger to pull a Infinity Watch. Is the only he's a trick. He's a trap. That's the only thing he's there.
A Kestrel, Surfer hybrid or something, and strip the charges off of Calling Wing, or just annihilate somebody if they're at a weaker power. Like that Misty Knight's only 52,000. I don't know, like a 6 or 7 Red Star Kestrel might be able to one-shot her. I'm not sure. But
probably.
I think that a better pick for this slot is one, either JJ, because she does give a little bit more resistance against that Surfer charge strip maneuver, or you might consider going with somebody like Red Guardian, who is rapidly becoming irrelevant with characters like Sam and Bishop. Or you could throw Drax in here as that.
I could consider it. I mean, the problem is they're all like pathetic. My Jessica Jones, my Red Guardian, my Drax are all pathetic. There's no point to it at all. They're going to get just as one shot as anything else is. I mean, I'll replace it with Shang-Chi. I mean, I will get a very small, pathetic Shang-Chi, which I can put in there. He'll be 4 red. I pulled 4 red on him, so that'll happen. But I could definitely throw a Red Guardian on there and see what happens. He's not the worst.
Pre-taunting tank, just making sure that their opening moves are kind of wasted. I think that might be the better pick. Ultimately, we're going to be replacing it with Shang-Chi. I know that this is the best defense in the game right now, and it will only get even more amazing with Shang-Chi, but I still just hate the team. I don't find them very fun. I don't find them intriguing. It's the same thing as the Hydra mechanic. They just die and revive and die and revive. It's
worse.
And that's not fun for me.
It's actually worse than the Hydra mechanic. The Hydra mechanic it made more sense in a way. These guys are just like stupid. Like they all kind of revive and come back for no fucking reason. The Hydra thing is like Red Skull empowers the team, and then Red Skull is indestructible until you kill off his minions. It has like a play mechanic to it. It has some ingenuity. This is just dumb as fuck. It's just like crashing cars together. There's no strategy to it at all. It's just really fucking stupid.
I don't like building this team. If you are serious about war defense and you want to build this team, it scales very well. High invested H for H teams just absolutely are nightmares to get through. With Shang-Chi, it's going to be twofold. So the budget build for this one is probably replace this guy with Drax. Even if Drax isn't very powerful, having that opening taunt to disrupt how they can come into this team is going to be important. Otherwise,
I mean, I might have to stick with Juggernaut too. I might have to disagree on this. If my Drax was 100K, yes, but because he isn't, number one, it's going to drop my Drax is like 50K or something. Hold on, let me just let's go into my gameplay real fast. Let's look at my Drax, because that's the real problem, is that it's going to drop what you're going to the easy math. And you're going to throw an Infinity Watch at this. You're most likely going to throw an Infinity Watch at this. And yeah, my Drax is just really sad. Yeah, all right, yeah, 58K. So this is my Drax. He's not even tier 12. I would have to put some kind of invest. I would at least have to, which I could take him to tier 12. It's not going to kill anybody. And yeah, you should always build Drax. He's a really great tank. But you see, it's going to drop the overall power. It's going to take it from a 400K team to a 350K team. I guess then you're kind of assuming, look, I don't like to plan my war strategies over other people making mistakes. So the mistake would be to send anything other than an Infinity Watch in on Drax, and anyone's opening Infinity Watch move is just going to annihilate a 58K Drax. It's going to be laughable. So I'm going to have a hard time doing that. I think, yeah, I get what he's saying about the pre-taunting tank helping Infinity Watch out. And I'm just going to see if that Red Guardian tactic could work at all. My Red Guardian is a more viable option at 73K. And he is tier 12 at least. And he even has his passive done. So that's nice. So yeah, this is possible. It could change the dynamic enough. It's definitely better than the Drax option. I would go with that. Perhaps. I mean, I'm not going to get a win. I mean, I'm not going to get a win. Like, no one's given up a win to this. So no matter what I do here, it will not be a win. It doesn't actually matter.
Guys, I kind of like JJ for the resistance, and of course Shang-Chi is going to be the best when you get him unlocked. Definitely want to get him in here. As for the ISOs, I don't like healer on Luke Cage anymore. Luke Cage dies with a rejuve over his head. It never actually takes effect. So let's get rid of the healer. Since you're only one ISO, go ahead and switch that over to Fortifier. As he dies and revives, he'll get that 15,000 or 10,000 barrier, whatever it is at ISO level 1. And that'll make him a little tougher. You've got Skirmisher Striker on these two. That's correct. I'm not certain about the placement, but it's good enough. I mean, running the 2 tanks in here is going to make that placement a little different. So I think that's okay.
I do like how nerdy he is and how much he's thought about this more than I would. I do like that part. As far as changing a healer to a fortifier on Luke Cage, I don't know, man. I just don't see that mattering at all at level 1. You could. I like his rationale.
Okay.
Probably not worth the actual time it takes.
Yeah, we're doing okay. It's not a terrible build. He's mostly doing it right. Like I said, the simplest fix for this team right now is changing that 1 ISO to make Luke Cage a fortifier. And when Shang-Chi is in here, it's going to be doubly important because Luke Cage will just automatically be the first target you go for. So there we go on that one. I'm going to give you...
All right, damn it. I think he convinced me. I think I'm going to change Luke Cage to fortifier. I don't know why. It makes almost no sense to do so, but I will do it because it's a good point. So fine.
Yeah, let's give you a B+ for this.
Ooh,
you're not wasting any resources on that, and I really like that.
I've wasted nothing.
Team number 2 is this Wave 1 skilletary mismatch.
Oh, it's some
I
bullshit.
see a lot of semi-useful war defense characters and maybe even war offense characters being used on this team, and I think it's kind of a waste. Okay, so you've got
you might be right there.
A bit of skilletary going on over here. Here's that Red Guardian who's no longer useful, but is already...
We're just maxing out like war buffs here. We're just trying to get as many war buffs as possible on one team. But he's probably right that we could break this up and disperse this, like even taking Red Guardian and putting it over onto the previous team. Yeah, the Red Guardian with war buffs is 91k, so I'm really not even losing that much power. It makes more sense.
Somewhat invested in, and you're trying to get some value out of them by putting them on defense because you're not using skilletary for whatever reason. I don't use skilletary myself. I think that they were a luxury team to begin with.
Yep.
Then they were hot for like a minute, and now they're getting kind of useless again as people are finding ways to keep them, like keep your mercs alive against the skilletary and stuff. There's not much use for them anymore. So
what's funny too is that Deathpool actually would fuck this team sideways. Deathpool's basic flips stealth. Deadpool's basic like fucks up skilletary on defense for some reason. I don't know why. But it just does. So that's kind of funny too.
You're trying to get some use. And then you've got Captain America and Captain Marvel, the 2 captains in here for, I don't know, just some extra damage output. Their synergy with Black Widow maybe. This is obviously just a thrown together junk team. Yeah. I'd like to see more of the Wave 1. I don't know what you're doing with Hawkeye. And
he hasn't seen my Wave 1. My Wave 1 is so fucking sad. I have recently spent just like a little bit on Wave 1 just for like blitz purposes. But man, my Wave 1, this is not an option. The Hawkeye at 50, the Hulk at 50. No, these are not. This is not the Wave 1 you are looking for. Yeah, this is not going to happen. So that's why that's like that, because it would not make any sense.
Let's see. I don't know what you're doing with Hulk, but if you've got any kind of decent investment in those two, I think that's better than these 2 down here.
Sadly, no.
You've got Healer on Red Guardian, and that's okay. He actually moves faster than you think because of the other things that are going on in the kit for the Skilletary team. You've got Skirmisher over here. If Hawkeye were in here, he would be a striker. She's Raider, that's correct. You've got Healer on her because you're trying to keep her alive.
No,
although
reasons.
At this time, she's so power crept. Switching that over to a striker might be a little bit better. You could get a little more bang for your buck. And over here on Captain America Healer, that's a good one too. He's going to get sped up a little bit too, I believe, as the Avengers are attacked or something like that. I'm not sure. Something happens when Avengers are attacked. So that might be the good choice over there.
I think anything would destroy this team. I mean, it's purely about making that number bigger up top, so that someone doesn't run over it with like anything. You have to send something in on this. If you don't send something in on this, if you've had other fails, then you might not have enough for this. This kind of defense actually works better on a flight deck than the room I'm in. I'm in kind of I'm in a room that gets hit earlier. I'm better off if they hit me later. If they hit me right off the bat, then you always have what you need and you're just going to rip right through my defense. If you get to me at the end of war, it might be tricky because my teams are typically larger than you would expect to deal with, and you might get caught by something.
There. Yeah, I would rather see a straight up wave one than this. I think these two are pretty much garbage characters at this point. You should probably take them out. You probably want to use them because you invested in them and you hate to see that investment go to waste.
No, I honestly don't care. What I would do though is you can probably find a better spot for some of this. You could probably make a better team elsewhere. Like he's saying, taking Red Guardian, sticking it on with my Heroes for Hire probably makes more sense than this team altogether. I would put just something else here. Pull Red Guardian. He's the most useful one. And then do something else.
But a better defense is better than trying to use characters simply because you invested in them. It's kind of like how Red Stars don't make a bad character good. They just make a bad character bigger. You know, same thing. A big investment in bad tunes doesn't mean you should use them. It doesn't mean you should max out your 7 Red Star character just because you got 7 Red Stars on them. That sort of scenario.
Don't talk about my Ghost Rider that way.
All in all, I mean, I know you're not wasting any. I know nothing in your defense is being wasted because you're not using any of these characters anywhere else. I just think the Wave 1 is going to be a better build if you can pull that off. Gonna give you a C for this team. It's pretty meh. Okay, this is straight garbage right here. This is so worthless. So you built these characters up because you wanted to do that Hydra Zemo team. On that offense team.
I built it up for the Gamma, and this is all for the Gamma. Winter Soldier got built up because he was my first 6 red, so he just got extra resources into him because I very quickly moved into Red Skull onto Hydra. I never used the Crossbones Winter Soldier build. Now the Guard and Scientist, this is all the Gamma, because we were running Gamma on difficulty 3 when it first dropped, and I needed to do this. Now we've actually dropped down and we run the difficulty 2 because who gives a shit? But when it seemed like there was a chance, I went for it on these two. And actually, Guard is not a bad investment. If you have, and I pulled the 6 on him, on a normal Hydra team, right now I'm using Phoenix. But if I wasn't using Phoenix, Guard really does work rather well, especially against mercenaries and things of that nature that you can take them up against. But yeah, now I don't use him at all right now.
These guys are useful. Your Grenadier is useful, which I think Grenadier is on offense for you right now. Some of these guys, man. I mean, you've got some taunts coming in here that make this team kind of hard to go into, but these minions are absolutely nothing without Red Skull. This team is really just absolute garbage. It's not anything but a big number up here that's going to require people to take anything with synergy to come in here on a punch across. Like, I would probably look at this team and go, oh, okay, there's where my Young Avengers are going to go. This is something my Young Avengers can punch across and easily take out, and I won't have to worry too much about it. I mean,
you would need to have like a 500k Young Avengers, which I would question about you, sir. But, Yes, you would. That's the strategy. I don't want to be beaten by 300k teams. This would beat a 300k team, so I'm not doing that. Yeah, power armor, something of that nature can beat this. Just about anything, but you'd have to have something. If you failed twice or 3 times for whatever reason, and then you come to this, you'll probably have problems. It'll slow you down in the morning is the idea, not at night. No one's getting stopped by this at night.
Really isn't any way to improve this, because I know that you're using Zemo, I know that you're using Red Skull on offense, and those are really the only options for improving this team. And you have these characters heavily invested in. So as garbage as this team is, I kind of have to give you the A for it. You've got the proper ISOs on here.
It's a sick troll team is what it is. I mean, it really is a fucking fuck you. When you come to this and you have to use a real team on it, I've won, basically. I've used the fucking bottom of the barrel trash on you, and I've made you use a legitimate team on it. That's winning in my book, as far as war goes.
It's not wasting any resources, and there's no way to improve it. So, I mean, okay, I guess you could put Crossbones over here on the...
No, I think what we could do is we could lean more into the military aspect on this and get a Captain Marvel in here. Because that could make it more nasty. And I'm going to put down that note myself. Actually, if I take Hydra and I put Captain Marvel on it, that's going to make Winter Soldier bigger too, which he's already like nuts at like over 100k. And then you also get that first round. So if he does bring in his fucking Young Avengers, the Captain Marvel Winter Soldier combo might delete a couple of them, and we might even get a fucking win. So yes, I do believe the key to improving my defense is to break up that previous team and then sprinkle some of those better characters into these teams. And I think he's right about what Rifle Trooper? I think he'd get rid of Rifle Trooper over Crossbones, or maybe even put in Captain America and Captain Marvel in here, just making it even bigger. Get a Captain America, Captain Marvel military thing, then add these 2 huge Hydra guys just to fuck things up and really lean into that Winter Soldier business. Because the Winter Soldier with more war buffs on him is going to actually be pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. So I think I will make that change. That's definitely worth it.
Outside there's a placement change, A-, I guess. It is what it is. Yeah, I wish I could help you on that team, but I know what you're doing on offense, so that's really the best that we got right there.
I think we can improve it.
Team number 4. This is another big question mark.
It's weird as shit.
You're ruining your mercs with this team.
I don't have mercs. All right, the problem is I don't have mercs. I don't invest in war teams, so that's where a lot of the problems come from. Like if we look at my mercenaries, you'll see that they are non-existent. So here, let me get the mercenaries. They're really not there. They just don't exist, especially Riot Guard. You know, your mercenary defense kind of lives or dies on your mercenary Riot Guard. And I don't have him at all. Like, he's just not firing the way he should. It's not there. Mercenary Lieutenant, not there. I do have a nice bullseye, but I don't know what that's worth. And I've put Killmonger on an offense team. So bringing Killmonger in is a good idea. Now, I will say that I don't actually use this offense team. So if I am wasting Killmonger. Most wars, 9 out of 10 wars, I never use this team. And I could easily take off Killmonger and put Deathpool here. And that would be just fine. So I might make that change to fix that up a little bit. But let's see what he suggests as well, because I'm curious. I'm loving his advice. He has a great knowledge of the game, which is something I don't normally like to admit about anybody other than myself, and maybe Boleon.
Wow. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of Shuri and Killmonger on the Mercs anymore. I'm finding that Korath the Pursuer on there is, and even Korath and Bull.
Wow. All right. So he's shooting down Shuri and Killmonger, and that was kind of where I was going to go. And yeah, I know, I agree. I don't think it really does help, but
Bullseye is much better. I haven't built up my Ultimus, so I don't know if I should put Ultimus on my Mercs or not. I haven't tested that. I hear a lot of good things about Ultimus because of how he reacts with Skeletor. So Shuri doesn't have a place. She doesn't have a use, so you could still use her and keep her here. Merc Lieutenant is okay, but he shouldn't be adjacent to Shuri. He should be adjacent to... Let's see. Okay, so... man, this team is so bonkers wrong. So the best placement for this team...
It is a mess.
...would be Taskmaster, followed by Merc Riot Guard, followed by Merc Lieutenant, followed by either Ultimus or Bullseye, followed by Korath the Pursuer. Maybe in Korath the Pursuer, and then Bullseye.
What I'll do is I'll make my changes, and then I'll run it by him, and then he'll correct me. And then we'll come back. Maybe we'll have him on. I got to get him on one of these Mondays.
On the outside, because Bullseye would be the useless character. Doesn't really matter. Or you could do something like the same thing, but then you're going to have Killmonger here and Shuri here. That would probably be the best placement. These are all options for you. Let's see. You've got Healer on him. That's good. You need Skirmisher on Taskmaster when you're running him with the Mercs especially. Otherwise, I mean, he'd be a Raider. I'm not sure why you went with Striker.
Because it's for raids. For raids, he's a Striker, and that's because he's got a great double tap. If we look at that on him, let's just pull that up. Yeah, I don't know if it probably doesn't make sense for him on war defense, and I don't think I would invest the ISO to change it. Let's see here, mercenary. But yeah, it's his basic. You get to steal 3 positive effects with it, so having it hit twice was the concept behind that. Plus, he's 6 red, so doing the extra damage, it was really a Doom kind of thing. But, I don't know. I stopped using him on the Doom raids. I stopped using him altogether. He's pretty much benched. But yeah, I do have a 7 red Killmonger, so moving that back on defense could cause some people some problems. Not that I even like to cause people problems on defense, honestly. But... it is good to play the game properly, I suppose.
Just to give that damage boost, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Yeah, if he's off his team, I know that there's synergy with the Raider ISO. I don't know about Striker at all. I know like everything in the game is Strikers right now. And it's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping they'd do something a little more exciting with the other blue ISOs, but really they just extended the worthlessness
made
of all
Striker
the other
better
ISOs than Striker and Skirmisher. Let's see. You got Skirmisher on Star-Lord. Star-Lord's more of a Raider or a Striker for me. Vision, man. Vision's just... he used to be so good. He's terrible now. Yeah, this team is really garbage. See if you can get some other Mercs in here to replace some of this. Change your Skirmisher. Change your Taskmaster to a Skirmisher. If you go with Riot Guard, you're going to want him as a Striker. You're going to want all your Mercs as Strikers except for Taskmaster, and Lieutenant can stay as a healer. If you're running Shuri on this team, you could then change him to a Striker to get even more damage output out of your Taskmaster. I mean, you've got a good investment in Taskmaster. Use him. You know, bring out his potential. Even if you got to forego all this ISO that you put on him.
He feels so bad. He feels so bad for my Taskmaster being stuck with such a shitty team like this. He's like, God damn it, man. Taskmaster's a top tier motherfucker, and you got him slumming it down with bullshit. But yeah, I think we could have some fun bringing that in here. Who knows? I mean, I think we could maybe even bring in Yelena. I don't know. Can you bring in Yelena to that? I don't know. I just think that would be a cute thing to do. Maybe that's not even a smart thing to do. Just to fuck with people. I don't know. We'll look at it. What I'd want to do, I guess, is try to get in the proper ISO classes to make some sense out of this mess. I mean, this is really just a hodgepodge, just trying to make this number big once again. That's a lot of my strategy, is just making the number big and putting big characters on here and causing people a problem that way. Thinking more of the ending hours of war than the starting hours. And the starting hours, you just blow through this with anything.
Him, at least on this defense, lock in the skirmisher on him so that he's making that triple hit combo pop off with your mercs. As for Star-Lord and Vision's just crap. We all got to bite the bullet on that one. He's no good. Hopefully we get this like villain tech kind of rework team thing going on and Vision has a place again. I don't know. His synergy doesn't really...
Yeah, he's not villain, so I don't think that's going to help him. If they make some kind of specifically Ultron Vision team, maybe.
Work with the villains so much, but he is tech. So I'd like to see that happen, but for right now, he's just kind of worthless, as is Star-Lord, unfortunately. He's got some synergy with Gamora and stuff, but that's not anything you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a tech team with Taskmaster on it than a mercenary team with, other characters on it. But I think we need to shift it. I think he's ultimately right here in that we do need to shift it back into a mercenary team. Removing Killmonger. I've been wondering what the fuck to do with my death pool anyways, and I think putting her with X Factor is going to be a good place for her to go at the moment on just kind of a weird ass clean up offense team for now until I can do something better with her.
On war defense. So that's my option. This kind of seems like a waste of material. I hate seeing strikers on Taskmaster. I see
really does.
So much more damage coming out of them when they're skirmishers. Yeah, so that's my option for you. But man, I got to give you a C- for this. This is kind of a waste of resources.
I give it a D.
These characters do have value and can be used on other war defense scenarios. Well, maybe not so much Shuri. She's kind of fallen off pretty bad too. All right, team number 5. We got an uncanny no Phoenix. All right, so you're running Phoenix on, I believe, that Hydra Red Skull team, I think, for offense.
Facts.
It's kind of she can also be used to take out the mercs. She can be used for a Heroes for Hire counter. Actually, if I were you, I'd pull this team and keep them for offense in case you come across like a 500k merc.
No, has no place. Can't beat mercs. Nah, this team gets torn the fuck up. It just does not have I would have to invest more into Psylocke and Wolverine to have it doing it. It really is nothing. It's really nothing is the problem with this team. It's a big number. It's a huge number. It seems like it would be a problem. It's not a problem. It's just bullshit. They're all glass cannons. They all fucking suck. That's a 7 red Colossus and he's ass. He does nothing. The power creep in this game is so fucked that Sharon Carter, a fucking human with a goddamn baton, just pushes Colossus's shit all up like he wasn't made out of metal. She just fucking slaps him with the baton and he's just done. He's just nothing. He's nothing at all. He's totally useless. This team's absolutely ass. It really has no place anywhere. It's sitting here on defense to be a big number. There is nothing good to do with this team other than shit cannon. Colossus doesn't even taunt properly outside of the X-Men. It's ridiculous how bad this team is.
Team or like a 575 Merc team, you can use Phoenix with just a standard straight uncanny and go in there and you can blow them up. It's a thing to do. It gives you an offensive option. This isn't really doing anything for you.
No. Anywhere.
I mean,
total trash.
They've got synergy, obviously.
Horrible.
But without Beast, your damage output between Cyclops and Storm is drastically reduced. Without Phoenix, it reduces Cyclops even further. Wolverine's just a bump on a log, no matter what team you put him on. I know he gets a little...
I think you could get more out of this if I removed Wolverine and Psylocke and I put in the Dad Bros. If I put in Shatterstar and Longshot, I could fuck with more people that way than that. So that would be, hey, Run 7's here. Good to see you, man. I've been agreeing with you. This is a totally fucked up team. There's nothing good. I took some good notes. I have some good notes about what we're gonna do. I'm gonna run my defense by you after I've done this, and then we're gonna get your feedback, and we'll adjust it up. We won't waste those resources. And I'm gonna make you deal with my Taskmaster being a striker. I apologize, but it was for raids. And it's, that was an old decision too. I might do it differently today. I mean, everything kind of changes with blue ISO, which I'm not putting on any of these teams on defense. I don't think I have one character with blue ISO on defense. Or I think I have Ultron coming up. Very few. So I'm not sure about that. But yeah, this needs to go. What do you think if we got rid of Psylocke and Wolverine and put in Shatterstar and Longshot? Is that viable? I mean, that would fuck with people. I mean, my Shatterstar and Longshot are pretty fucking beefy boys. I still think this team just sucks, though, and there's no saving it. You can't use this on offense. I've tried to use this on offense. It dies to everything. It works on nothing. It's absolutely good on zero. Not good at all. Not even if you take off Wolverine and Psylocke and put on the Dad Bros, it still sucks. It does nothing. You have to have Phoenix. Without Phoenix or Beast, it's over. There's nothing good here.
A little bit more turn meter, a little bit more damage on this team.
It's not even a blitz team.
But it's not great.
It's nothing.
I don't know why you've got Fortifier on Colossus at 7 red stars.
Because
ain't nobody cutting through him anytime soon.
Everybody cuts through him like butter. Like butter. He's like not even existent. The Fortifier was like a last-ditch attempt to try to save him. I'm telling you, he's the worst 7 red. You would think a 7 red character would be worth a damn, but he's worth no dams. 0 dams. Characters give 0 fucks when they fight a 7 red Colossus at this point. He's absolutely useless. Yes, hail run 7. Thank you for doing this, by the way. This is very helpful.
Yeah. The good news is, because you have this pillar of strength right here.
You don't, though.
This team will hold up long enough that Wolverine will actually take 1, maybe even 2 turns. Could be good.
Oh, it won't.
Your placement is fine, although you might swap Psylocke and Wolverine, because Wolverine has some healing properties. He'll catch some of that splash damage off of him. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more you can do. You got Raider and Striker, Skirmisher. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about that Fortifier. I mean, she is the linchpin of this version of this team, so there's a thing to do, but I personally would go... I'd go with Healer on him.
I don't know if I would do Healer. I mean, I think the other viable option on Colossus is Skirmisher because of all the counterattacks, and I've seen that tactic used. On this team in particular, I would definitely switch to Skirmisher if I felt like giving a fuck at all, which I kind of don't. I kind of don't care. It was a decision made in the past, and it's over. Yeah, this team is really gone. There's no saving it. But if you were to, the better ISO on Colossus would be Skirmisher on this team, because you have 2 strikers, you have a Raider who never goes. I mean, just it's ridiculous. But yeah, Colossus as a Skirmisher here would do better.
Well, it's not happening much, but I'd go with Healer on him. You got to get somebody helping to heal up this team. Maybe even put Wolverine as a healer too. I don't know. They're so slow though. You wouldn't get many rejuves out of it. Be kind of tricky to pull off. Otherwise, like, there's nothing really wrong with this, and you're not wasting any resources. I think the opportunity to pull this entire team and put them on offense is something you could consider. It just really depends on how many
could it make it work
of those war offense teams you have. If you've got your 10 to 12 teams set and you never go outside of that, then don't worry about it. Leave this team where it is. If you're looking for an extra team to slot into those new Save Squad tabs, then you might consider pulling this version if that Hydra Red Skull Phoenix team that you're using. I believe I got that. I could be remembering wrong.
You got it
but
right.
If that Phoenix isn't
really
being
good.
used that way, then no. So I'm going to give you a B for.
Yeah, the Hydra Phoenix is taking out Brotherhood Doom at pretty high levels, so I can't mess with that one. It's the best version of Hydra, other than putting Silver Surfer on it. The Silver Surfer Hydra is the best Hydra, but it doesn't need that. And Phoenix kind of serves a direct purpose when we do the Brotherhood Doom fight, because she goes right before Grenadier and clears the blind off of him. So she's like clutch for that. And, you know, she would be better on defense if I was a more defense-focused player. Definitely. One of the main defenses I'm seeing right now is you would put in Dr. Doom and Phoenix on this. And you can counter it though with Secret Avengers. Secret Avengers fucks that team up so fucking crazy. It's ridiculous. But other things definitely fail to it. It definitely fucks. I think it's better than Brotherhood Doom in a way. I mean, it's all pretty bad. It depends on who you have built up. If you have bigger Brotherhood Doom, then you'd use that. If you have a bigger Uncanny X-Men, then you probably put Doom over there.
For this team, it's nothing special. It's not going to stop anything. It's just a big number that requires a synergistic team to come into it. There's lots of ways you can take this down without thinking too hard about it, but there's not really many ways you can improve upon this team either. I can't think of a replacement for Wolverine that isn't going to have that isn't going to force you to invest. So I think we should stick with this. All right. Team number 6. Marauders with Magneto. This team's actually really formidable. Personally, I think you should be putting...
I was fairly proud of this team because the Sabretooth variant is kind of ass, especially if you haven't built Sabretooth. If you're not using your Brotherhood anywhere else, Magneto works very well with here. The synergy between Magneto, Mr. Sinister, and Mystique is something that a lot of people don't really exploit to its fullest, but it's really there and it's really cool. You see it in raids more than you do in war, and because most people don't do this. So it is something I still think a Shadowlands will just fuck this up. That's a pretty big Mr. Sinister. Sometimes big Mr. Sinisters will ruin Shadowlands Day. However, your Night Nurse is just going to flip all this blind, and it's not. They're just going to eat it up, especially at our level of war. If you don't have Shadowlands built, this could potentially fuck you up. It won't fuck up a Black Order if you take a Black Order into it, but it might eat a Black Order.
Doom in here in place of Mystique make this team a real nightmare. I think that's just a really tough team with Doom in here. Of Mystique make this team a real nightmare. Magneto. This team's actually really formidable. Personally, I think you should be putting Doom in here in place of Mystique.
Yeah, I use Doom on offense. That's not a bad idea. I don't know. I don't know about that. Another team that fucks this up is X-Force, because X-Force is fast. I don't know if Magneto's blind would hit X-Force before they go. If it does, then Doom would kind of be very effective in there. But I don't know. Like I said, the Mystique, Sinister, Magneto thing is pretty awesome.
Mystique make this team a real nightmare. I think that's just a really tough team with Doom in here. The other alternative is you could put Minerva in here if you're not using her somewhere else, because she's going to help keep this team alive a little bit more. It forces when X-Factor comes in, they can't use Mum because she's going to be healing off of all those dupes that get killed. So it's a good alternative there. I can't remember. I think you're running Doom on offense, so that's probably not going to happen. But you have a good investment in her. She is giving Sinister those positive effects, which he then spreads to the other team members. You've got great power in all these characters. You've got the right ISOs on all of them, except for Strife. Strife needs to be a fortifier. More and more, I'm seeing more tanks that require fortifier. It used to be I recommended Strife, and only Strife was the only fortifier. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, maybe Stature on that Pimtech team could use it. And now it's like, Luke Cage on the Heroes for Hire team is a good fit for it. But really, Strife uses his barrier mechanic to great effect, and adding the fortifier ISO 8 on it allows him to have more barrier, and it is...
No, I think he's got a point about fortifier on Strife. I think that makes sense. I was going off some old logic with them with all healer. That was the thing to do back when Marauders mattered, is you put healer on all of them and then they were like invincible. However, I changed to a skirmisher on Emma for the arena back when that mattered for a moment. And I don't know. I haven't thought about it past that. Really, I don't know if I would spend the materials to switch a war defense ISO. I don't know if I'm at that point yet where I can kind of waste it that way, in my opinion. But he does have a good point with fortifier on Strife, I think.
Gives him more barrier to work with, plus more max barrier. So it's really just a good fit. He's just got great synergy with that ISO. So check it out. Also, you should probably change your placement. A lot of people put Mystique next to Strife because she goes invisible and keeps chain attacks from going through. The thing is, I don't like her next to Strife because it takes away that deflect or the evade, and then Sinister can give that evade to the rest of the team. But I would move her even further away because she's a pretty squishy member. But that's pretty minuscule. You can keep her there. It's fine. She's got great healing. I'm sorry, why aren't you using her as a healer? That like a level 5 healer on Emma is just so vicious this day and age.
Yeah, except I don't want to spend that on Emma. I barely use Emma. She's on war defense. I wouldn't waste the ISO. Skirmisher was very, very good for her in the arena, so that's why it's there. It was healer until I did that, though.
You might consider that. I mean, there's synergy with the Skirmisher tag. I tried it out myself. I didn't like it. I like her much better as a healer. So I think my advice for you on this team is consider swapping her out for other characters like Minerva or Doom. You should probably go to a healer on Emma and definitely go to a fortifier on Strife. You're not going to be losing much investment by switching him now. Otherwise, it's a great team. It's a great defense. I think a lot more people should be running this, especially mid-level alliances. And people who are just now unlocking Doom should probably get Doom in here on this and try running some sort of either Doom Brotherhood or Brotherhood Marauder Doom team like what you've got going on here. I like it. I think it's a good team.
It's honestly a better investment than Brotherhood Doom. When you're building up a big blob, Juggernaut, Toad, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're wasting a lot of resources. When you're building a bigger Sinister and Emma, it's okay. It's not so bad. So doing that over like Blob and Toad, Juggernaut, is better. And yeah, like what he's saying, don't do Mystique. No one should be building Mystique now. That was like an arena thing too. So I'm over that. No one's building Mystique. The investment into Magneto, if you haven't done it, I wouldn't recommend that either. But, you know, if you have, it's more about what you have. If you have some of this shit, definitely what he's saying about Doom is better. And overall, this team is kind of it's a better set of characters to build than your Brotherhood Doom.
I'm going to give you the A-.
Oh, Blob's fucking tough. If you have like a 100K Blob, it will definitely get you defense wins. But that's all it will do. And it's not worth it to do that. However, using Emma and Sinister on the Doom raid is a thing that you can do. So it makes more sense to build that in certain circumstances. It will never make sense to build Blob for anything other than war defense right now.
On this is actually a really formidable thing to come into. Team number 7 is a tech thing. Okay, so here's where your Minerva is. All right.
You might be able to bring Shuri over here and off the Mercs if you wanted to. I don't know. You might want to keep her over there with Killmonger too. I'm not sure.
Right. Minerva actually has great synergy with this team. I don't want you to remove her from this team if you want to run this team. I think you should consider Hand Sentry if you have a fully developed Hand Sentry. I can't remember what your Hand Sentry looks like, but if your Hand Sentry is anywhere near 100K, get him in here in place of Yellow Jacket. I don't know if you remember the old Hide the Toaster defense that people used to run, but what happens is Ultron will summon his bots, and then immediately Hand Sentry puts everybody under stealth, so you can't hit the bots and you can't hit Ultron.
All right, I do like where he's going with this. Let's see if that's even a remote possibility for me. I kind of think that it is not. I do like it though. That's some old school shit. This guy knows his shit, man. Yeah, Hand Sentry ain't doing shit, man. Good God. Yeah, I got nothing. Boy, if only anybody else did this. Yeah, I don't know why anybody... I mean, you know, people that gave a shit about war. It definitely was a thing. It was never a thing for me, though, apparently. So, yeah, I just never played that game.
And it works out really great. Hand Sentry lasts for all of 8 seconds, and then they start going after people, but it's enough time to get the ball rolling on Ultron. Also, you've got Falcon in here. Now, Falcon is a really still a good character, has a lot of value. I use him in a lot of places for kind of niche maneuvers, but it's because I'm controlling him and I can use that special before the ultimate. In this one, I don't know. Maybe having Hand Sentry in here might give him the cover that he needs, but alternatively, I think putting Drax in here or Red Guardian in here would make this team really tricky, because they'd have to go in after the pre-taunting tank, and then Hand Sentry would put everybody under stealth. You've got Mrs. Dodgy Pants over here, Ghost. She's super hard to hit, and then Minerva is healing everybody off of the bots that are dying. This team actually...
All right, so we should definitely build into this, though, because we do have a lot of things going on. We actually have 2 characters with blue ISO sitting in here. So you got your Ultron, you got your Minerva, you got your Ghost. And I think we both agree that we can do better than Yellow Jacket and Falcon. So what 2 characters do we want to add to this? I think Red Guardian over here is going to bring more value than putting Red Guardian on Heroes for Hire. Going back to my Heroes for Hire, like, yeah, we could put Red Guardian on that, make it a little bit better, but not that much better. I think Red Guardian over here would make more sense. And I'm not sure what else we could add to it if we were going to go down those lines, but let's see. You think Red Guardian could give Falcon enough time? Yeah, I don't like that Falcon starts off with that ultimate instead of his special. If he started with his special, we'd be in business, but he does not.
He has a lot of synergy. It's just Yellow Jacket only has synergy with Ghost, and I just don't like Yellow Jacket.
That's not true. Yellow Jacket also has synergy with Ultron, quite a bit with Ultron. He doesn't get like direct, like passive buffs from Ultron, but since he is a tech villain, if he gets those kills, it'll extend the buffs on Yellow Jacket, and if Yellow Jacket gets kills, he will drop buffs on all the tech villains, or on all the PIM. What the fuck does he do? He's got a thing too. I can't remember if it's tech villains or if it is. Let's pull him up. My Yellow Jacket is not big enough though. You need to have a massive Yellow Jacket for it to matter. He will go down to like, and he's very, very weak. But his kit is very good actually. Where is this thing? It is the hostile takeover right here. Yeah, on kill, apply 2 random positive effects to self and all PIM tech and villain tech allies. So he does have synergy with the whole team. Is very good, but I don't have the investment there. The red stars aren't there. There's just, it's not quite there. It could be there, but it's not there. So it's faking it. It's a faking it until it's making it. It's not really making it right now, so you probably could do better.
Thank you for building him up and testing him. I'm sorry you had to find out the hard way that he's not any good. Yeah.
He might be good someday.
So there's some replacement options for these 2. I think you should consider them. You've got villain tech over here, which works great. If you have some villain tech options to swap out with these guys, consider those 2. Nothing comes to mind right offhand. I kind of like Drax over here and Hand Sentry right here. Going back to a version of that old Hide the Toaster team. It's pretty good. Getting those red stars on Ultron, way to go. That's not something I'm doing, but it's not something that I'm saying people shouldn't do either. I'm just saving when my promotion tokens cap out, I'll probably start putting the stars on Ultron. I just don't have to make a move yet, so I'm not going to.
Not the worst idea.
Yeah, you've got 3 strikers and nobody putting out vulnerable.
As much as I love Ultron, there is a lot to be said for taking your time and waiting and see what happens. So yeah, and yeah, there is that. I am running Wakanda PIM, so having this big Yellow Jacket is useful in that. I don't know, man. If he had the red stars, he might be a contender, but at 3 red stars, he is barely usable.
By the way. So get Raider on Falcon. If you're going to run this team, you should probably put either Skirmisher or Raider on Yellow Jacket. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. If you do swap out those
the ISOs are wrong, and I really do need to look at ISO if I'm gonna put in another character. If I'm gonna replace out Falcon and Yellow Jacket here, I need a a level 3 skirmisher, or else I don't actually get anything out of Ultron. I don't get as much. I haven't gone level 3 striker on Ghost yet, but specifically this level 3 striker is going to waste without a level 3 skirmisher, because you're not going to do that health damage, the extra health damage, unless you have 2 stacks of vulnerable on somebody. So there's no opportunity for that here at all. It is a total, I mean, there's nothing dropping vulnerable here at all. So you're not getting any double hits at all. It is inherently broken. And yeah, we probably can do better than those 2 characters.
People with my suggestions, put raiders on them both. Like if Drax, he's good with the raider tag. Hand sentry's just garbage, but he puts people under stealth. You could go with fortifier on hand sentry actually to give him a little bit of longevity, because he's squishy for a tank. All right, you're not wasting any resources. You thought this out with what crappy tunes you're working with. These tunes actually have some synergy, and it is kind of a scary thing to go into. But being that there's nobody taunting, I could just tear into them, taking out Falcon first, probably knocking down Yellow Jacket just to remove people. And then once Minerva resummons Falcon, I'd probably just kill him again. I wouldn't even think about Minerva. I just leave her be. She's just... she's got that one rejuve thing that's going to happen, and that's about it. But there's a lot of options. My symbiotes would just eat this team alive, Axemen. But again, if you're using Axemen on this team, or if somebody uses Axemen on this defense, then you've scored, right? Because they've just wasted their Axemen on this team, which is fantastic. So, but yeah, there's other teams that can take it down. You just need somebody fast, maybe somebody that can apply heal block, something like that. So... all right, I'm going to give this team a B-. It's not horrible. I just see lots of room for improvement on it. And team number 8 is your symbiotes, straight up symbiotes. Yeah, looking good. I like your ISOs. Yeah, I went with Skirmisher on Scream, but Raider's good too. Yeah, no, it's a good team. Wow, 7 red stars on Carnage. I'm kind of jealous. Placement's effective. There's nothing wrong with this. And that's a very high power level. Probably going to require a Black Order to come in and beat this team. There's nothing wrong here. I think this is
No, 7. We can't say that. We can't just say that. We're going to offend people on the internet. We have to make sure that we give out good information here. So it is my civic fucking duty to tell you and everyone else that you can put Brotherhood on this team. You can punch up 200K with a Brotherhood 2.0 on symbiotes. Because if I don't say that, someone is going to go, and please, if you were thinking about going down in the comments and posting that, do it anyways. Go down in the comments and post that again. You can trust me. Hail Heartgrave.